Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. It is currently 5 in the morning. Today is going to be slightly different to usual because I can hardly think. Because I am going to help with a tank breakdown. And I know what you're thinking, what's the reason for the hood? And it's because this is what it looks like before it's tamed. Right, need a coffee. And yeah, it's time to get started. Right now it's 6 a.m. And through the power of editing and hair gel, I almost look like I'm a human again. I'm going to, as I said earlier, I'm going to collect some corals from a tank breakdown. This is actually quite an impressive tank breakdown. This is probably going to be the most impressive tank breakdown that I have helped with. Not due to its size, because it isn't a massive tank, but there's some really nice high quality corals from the pictures. So I'm actually quite looking forward to this. Because I started so early, people who don't know me won't know this. People who do know me will know that I'm actually quite an anxious person. So the reason I have decided to leave so early is purely to make sure I get a parking space, and that's it. Which, saying it now sounds insane, but we can't help who we are. I prepare for basically everything, every eventuality. I'm even bringing a spare t-shirt, just in case this one gets wet. So that'll give you a little insight into who I am. How many people do you know go to help with a tank breakdown and bring a spare change of clothes? It's funny because I'm now here, and remember I said a minute ago I was worried about parking? Well, I drove straight here and there was a parking space literally outside waiting for me. So that should teach me something, and obviously you as well. Worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, it's like paying a debt that you don't owe. But yeah, he's just messaged me, so I literally have to go. Unfortunately for you guys, this is the only video I took of the tank before it was broken down. I'll be honest with you, the guy didn't particularly want to be on camera. Not everyone likes to be on camera. I don't like to film in front of other people because we all know I'm a terrible YouTuber. But it was important to me that you saw what the tank looked like before it was broken down, because it genuinely really was a very nice tank. It also took much longer than we anticipated. It took about 2 hours to do in the end, and I think that was because we had to keep going up and down. It was I think it was about 3 flights of very narrow stairs, and there was some people that were looking at us very strangely as we were walking down the street carrying boxes of coral. So, but yeah, as I said, one of the nicer tanks that I've seen. So I wanted you to see it. Right now, as you can see, I'm back home. Genuinely one of the nicest people that I've met in a very long time. Now, as I said a minute ago, obviously he requested I didn't film. I didn't really want to film, if I'm honest. I borrowed a car. It's actually my dad's car. It now smells very heavily of coral. The reason I had to borrow a car is because this is what happens. This is so I plan everything, and then it turns out I have a flat tire. So let me show you very briefly what I got. Right, so I've got 3 poly boxes full, as well as all these bags of coral. I will show you very briefly. The only thing I'll show you is this. So the live rock was transported out of the water, and some of the live rock has zoas on it. Now that technically means I've been in an enclosed space with zoas that have been outside the water for an extended period of time. So it's funny because while I was on my way home, I got quite a significant headache, and I was like, I wonder if this is what palytoxin poison. But I think what happens is your mind starts to race. Right, what I'm going to do, need to get all these inside. As you can see, it is lovely English weather, pouring with rain, or it has been. And yeah, so I have a lot of work to do. Right, now before I show you the new corals I got, let me show you what I've done with the lower tray of System 1. Now I knew that today I was going to be getting a lot of SPS corals. I needed to make more room in this system. This system will eventually be the SPS system. So as you can see, I've still got quite a few LPS to move out. What I've done is I've taken out a lot of the chalices and favias, and I've replaced them with Milipora. The reason eventually this tank will be all Milipora is because the radions have a slightly lower intensity on this system, and then the top system will be for Acropora. Some of the corals were easier to get out than others. I'll show you what I've done with them in a minute. As you can see, the Cephastrias are still hanging on at the moment, mainly because they're a pain to get off the coral tray. eventually this will be all SPS. And so if you want to start buying a few more euphyllias, then that will help me out, because I'd have to dip them and put them on new frag plugs, because you'll see in a second that I even when transferring between this tank and the other tanks, I still do this exactly the same process. And as you can see pretty clearly, this is going to be my LPS tray. At the moment I've only got the top system of this running, but eventually I will have both of them. This is where the chalices have moved to. You can see what I've done is I've taken them off the frag plugs, fragged them again, and then stuck them down. There are some really nice chalices. I will never understand why chalices aren't as popular as some other corals, basically, because it's like a lot of them are actually more colourful than, or more brightly coloured, especially these ones, for example, than, say, Milipora. But I sell a whole lot more Milipora. As you can see, I've also fragged down the candy canes, because some of them were getting way too big, and there's a similar issue with the Duncans, where people were ordering them and they were ordering one head, but because they'd been here for so long, they'd grown so much, I was sending out sometimes 3 or 4 heads, just because I wanted to make sure I filled the order on time. So I fragged those down to smaller pieces, and here are some more underappreciated pieces. So I've got a Kelly green Samicora. I've got a Leptestra, which I believe is a Hulk Leptestra, and this is a Funny Farm Leptestra, although to me it looks more like a Leptestra, but that's its name apparently. So someone will probably correct me in the comment section, because, as I said, to me it looks like more like a Leptestra, but I believe it's meant to be a Leptestra. And the acans are doing really well, so they're actually doing much better in this tank than they were in the last tank. Again, this light is slightly dimmer than they were before, so they have puffed up a lot more. So almost makes me like acans a bit more. Right, now I'll get on to the bit you've all been waiting for. I'm actually pretty tired now, because what I've done is I have taken all the rocks and I have removed any of the corals from the rocks, or as much as the rock as possible, and which actually I've been through 2 saw blades, because it was really dense rock. It wasn't a natural rock, it was clearly a man-made rock, and it was very dense. So yeah, I basically destroyed 2 of my saw blades. I'll start with the Zoas, and then I'll move on to the SPS pieces, because they're my favourite, so I like to keep them till last. And basically all these corals will eventually, once rest a little bit. I mean, most of them are, like some of the polyps are out on the SPS corals already, so I have no doubt that they'll all be fine. The Zoas definitely need to be fragged, because you'll see they're quite large colonies still. But yeah, they will be on the website soon. I have tidied up the website. I was told that it would affect my Google ratings if I removed corals which weren't in stock, but I wanted to do it anyway, because I prefer, it's like OCD, I wanted it to be tidy. So if it affects it, then obviously so be it, but I'd rather it was a better user experience for you, basically. So most of the corals that are on the website now are in stock, and the ones which are going to be out of stock for a long period of time will be removed, or have been removed, and when they are back in stock, I will let you know. Right, so we should probably start with the least impressive coral and go all the way up to the most impressive. So this is a very grumpy toadstool. Apparently it's massive when it comes out, but obviously at the moment it's not very happy. I've got a different colour variation of green star polyps. There are some furry green mushrooms in here, which I'll be interested to see if they colour up a bit differently, because they're not quite as bright as my other ones. And I believe this is a forest fire mushroom. Now this is where I'm going to need some help from you guys, because I got lots of Zoas. I have no idea what these are. I have no idea what these are. My favourite ones are these, with the sort of the yellow lashes and the black. Yeah, it's pretty much black. It's so dark. Circle around the outer edge, and then obviously the bright yellow centres. So if you know what those are, and again, these ones are, I believe, a relatively common one, but I'm not sure what they are. But I'll Google their names before. But if you wanna help me out and put them in the comment section if you know what they are. And then these are apparently kryptonite mushrooms. Now
I do have a kryptonite in the other tank, and they do have a little bit more, it has a little bit more dark spots on them. These are the same color green, but they aren't, but the dark spots on them are very, very tiny at the moment. So now the color variation of these sorts of mushrooms, they do get, it does get more as they get bigger. It's quite difficult to see. Let me see if I can. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they start to develop the black stripes. If they don't, they're still nice anyway. So right now, as you saw in the tank video briefly before it was closed down, it is mostly SPS, but there were some really nice LPS. So we've got this frog spawn. The heads are too close together to frag at the moment, but eventually it'll be nice to be able to frag pieces of it. And then I got this Platter Gyra. Now, this piece was one of the most difficult pieces to remove because it's absolutely huge, and it was it'd obviously been grown for years, literally on the base of the tank. I believe that the colours of it will probably slightly change. It was in quite a highlight position, and I think that it was a little bit bleached, and although still, as you can see, it's growing. But I think in dimmer lights it will colour up a bit better. And then I've got some Leptestra. This is actually, I think, the last rock which hasn't been broken down yet. You can see there's a little piece of green Milipora. And then I think this, I'm not 100% sure exactly what this is, but I think this is another. It looks like another Leptestra, but I don't really know. So if you know what this piece is, this is actually one of my favourite pieces. From the breakdown, but yeah, if you know what this is, let me know, because I'm not 100% certain. But the color variation on it is a very different color orange to a lot of the other pieces. I had to break down that huge Hollywood Stunner chalice, and now when you see the chalice I got last one, the sort of, remember I said it was sort of like a blue Hollywood Stunner? Well, when you see them next to each other, it's clear that they are actually quite different, but this one does appear to be growing just as quickly. Right, so SPS is really where that tank excelled. You can see that I've literally run out of room, so I've had to just pile, like Cop-End wants to get in on the action. In fact, all the fish are right in this corner for some reason, probably think they're about to be fed. But yeah, you can see I'm literally just piling frags on top of each other just to create some room. But the acros which I like the most are this one. This pink one is amazing. I've never seen one with that sort of pink coloration and like a cream like outer rim. So that is a piece that I'm looking forward to growing out, because it really is something exceptional. I do have a couple of small frags of it. I've got this again, this nice pink piece. This was a piece actually that the owner was keeping that he did a frag of for me. But the piece that I like, there's actually a couple of pieces that I like the most. One of them is this blue acro here, but my favourite piece, look how bright that is. This is a sunset Milipora, and as you can see, it's been grown for a long time. Let me see if I can give you a size reference. There's my hand, and there's the Milipora. So, and I don't have small hands; I got pretty big hands. So that probably will show you just how long and how much care this piece has had. And there was one other huge acro, which was this one. You can't see it very well in the video, but it does have kind of blue tips on it. I also got this blue and green Milipora. So I've got quite a few different coloured Milipora now. I've got this all green one. I've got a purple one. I have one which is not on the website, which is sort of like very, very slightly blue and green. And then I have this really, really blue one. Now the owner hated this Milipora because it kept essentially spawning in his tank. So little pieces of it were all over the place. That does happen quite often with Milipora, but trust me, I wouldn't mind this spawning in this tank, and because it's I get the feeling that when I eventually frag this will be a really, really good seller. The final larger acro, which you can't really see the coloration on it, it's more of a teal colour than what's being shown on the video here. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I lost quite a lot of corals in one of the boxes, and that little piece there, that little piece of Milipora there, the green piece, was the very, very last piece of a huge colony which I was able to save. And it was a shame because it was a really, really nice colony. Now, it just so happens that, ta-da! the person had a huge colony of it, which was good. And then on the side of this colony, you can just see it. It goes quite deep down. Is a gold rush Milipora, which I've got a few. I've had a few little frags of it already, but definitely not that sort of size. And I think that's it. I had a few different, just sort of generic Miliporas. This is looks like a Milipora digitata, but it's kind of like silvery yellow colour. And this was the other digitata that I picked up. Now I have some digitata already, some red pieces of it. It's interesting because my digitata grows really, really thin in this tank, and I think it's because the flow isn't actually that high, whereas you see how thick the branches are in comparison of this one compared to mine, and that's because this was in a really, really high flow tank, mainly for the acros. So you can see the difference between the thickness of the branches when corals are forced to grow in a very, very high flow environment. Now, as you can see, this has been a very long day. Just put coral slime in my hair, nice. And I'm down to my last container now. I'm down to my very last container. The reason I say container is everything else was in bags, but the last thing, there's a couple of pieces of coral, and there's actually a fish in here as well, are in a salt bucket, and I'll show you which bucket. Right now I had to borrow a Brightwell Aquatics bucket. And the only thing that I have no idea with regards to what this salt's like, but I do have one recommendation for Brightwell. It is almost impossible to get this lid off. Maybe I'm just not strong enough, but as you can see, I am literally using the bone cutters to gradually open it all the way around the edge, just so I can get it off. Now, as I said, it might be that I'm just weak, but if you're listening, Brightwell, I'm sure there'll be people other than me that will appreciate this. This bucket originally was just for some of the larger encrusting pieces, which I couldn't get off the rock. So I brought them here and I can literally cut them off. Now I've got the saw. But there was one fish. As you can see, there's a fox-faced rabbitfish. This rabbitfish was a little bit too big for the tank it was in. So the owner asked if I wanted to put her in the coral tray. So I accepted. This isn't a fish that the viewers get to name. Normally, obviously, you get to name the fish, but this fish already has a name. This fish is called Foxy Cleopatra. I'm sure you can work out why. And yeah, so I've just realised that the majority of the fish in the mega build are actually second-hand fish. The mega build is gradually becoming a home for fish which are essentially seeking asylum because either they've outgrown their current homes, or they're too aggressive, or yeah, usually it's because they've outgrown their current tanks. But yeah, so I will get her in the tank. She's going to go into Coral Tray 3 with the acans. No, Coral Tray 4 actually, with the acans. My very, very first fish was an almost identical foxfish to this one. I had it for about 8 years, and then I lost it in a tank crash. So it's nice to get one that's exactly the same colour, because some of them have like a little black spot, and also one that is exactly the same size. My last one ate acans, so it was a bit of a risk putting her in there, but I've been told that she is as good as gold. We will soon find out. But if she's not, I can always just move her over to one of the other systems. Right, now the fox face is in with its banquet of acans, but the one strange thing about this tank, and I have no idea why, is none of the fish hang out above the coral tray. In System 1, the fish in both the top tray and the bottom tray are out. But in this system, there are 3 fish. Right, there's the fox face, which as you can see is doing okay, considering she's just gone in. The other 2 fish I have an orange line tang, which you can see there. It's quite an unusual tang. Again, I got that one, was given to me. And then I also have somewhere in here a Scopus tang, which is, you can't see it, but it's over there somewhere. Right, yeah, that's it for today, guys. It's good to see that my hair is just as crazy at the end of the video as it was at the start of the video, just to maintain a certain level of consistency. I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to say a massive thank you to AJ, who's the person that who I got the corals off. As I said, really nice, really genuinely nice person. He owns a company called London Aquatic Design. That's right. Just remember London Aquatic Design. Remember, I will put a link for it in the description box below. And if you can go like his Facebook and his Instagram page, that'd be greatly appreciated, because I believe that nice people should be rewarded. So what he does, he sells frag racks, and he also sells lids for the aquariums. So he's going to be looking at a solution for these tanks, because as you know, I want to put lids on them. I thought about a rolling mechanism, but then I thought potentially maybe I could have sliding pieces where one piece is above the other, so they can slide over the top of each other. The biggest problem with that is that the water levels is quite high, so there's no area for a shelf to go in. But yeah, so yeah, if you could do that for me, as I said, London Aquatic Design. Go and like his Instagram, go and like his Facebook page, and even better, go and buy stuff from him. Because, as I said, genuinely, really nice guy. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, want to help me as well, click that like button. Have a good week, and I will see you next time.